Ever wonder what secrets lie in our world? What is really behind the stories of mysterious beings that are sewn into our myths and legends? We constantly hear old stories about spirits, monsters, and even government conspiracy each and every day. But most of the tales are run through little shreds of paper found on the sides of the road, leading to a much bigger truth. What is the truth that everybody is trying to reach? That is what I want to find out. My name is Dakota Frandsen. Tune into my show, Journals of Supernatural Adventure, every other Saturday as I reveal information straight from the journals of my paranormal investigation team, the Paranormal Raider Force. With the information that we have found, and by making the connections through the work of our colleagues, we bring forward a new look to old topics and plant the seeds for new topics to bring to question, while maintaining the logic that is losing touch with the purpose of alternative research. If you believe that you are ready to take a listen to our show, sit down, turn out all the lights, and see what is really going on in the shadows. Welcome to Journals of Supernatural Adventure.
The media has been under fire for somehow brainwashing the public into various things. But because of events like the shootings at Sandy Hook and Columbine, there has been some heated debate as everyone is trying to figure out what could drive a person to such deep madness. Various conspiracy theorists have tried claiming that secret societies such as the Illuminati have used their influences with several media outlets to try to spread their message. But despite all of these claims, is there any truth to them? With various studies conducted to answer these questions, it is about time to bring the truth to the surface on this episode of Journals of Supernatural Adventure. My name is Dakota Frandsen, and it's time to show people what really happens when people get too much screen time. But first, before we get too far into the program, there are a couple special announcements that I like to make. Want to make an appearance on Journals of Supernatural Adventure? Well, here's your chance. All you need to do is simply send us an email at journalsupernaturaladventure@gmail.com with your name, field of expertise, a couple experiences you had on the job, or even a couple projects you have worked on. And if it sounds interesting, I will send you an email asking when you're available for the show. Or if you have some musical talent and would like to show it off, Journals of Supernatural Adventure is opening the last few minutes of every show just for you. You see, I personally believe that without music, the journey we go through is nothing. But with music, it helps keep our minds busy, it helps ease the moods a little bit. So without a little music here and there, our lives would get boring and we would just be nothing more than organic robots. So to help liven things up on the program, I ask a little help from you all. If you have a song that fits under the guidelines placed on the Contact Us page at the Paranormal Raider Force website at frandsenfiles.webs.com, please send it in. And if you have a website you post your stuff to, or even a page on any social networking site, we will set up to where you will have a direct link to it all straight from the episode description that you're featured on. You do that and you will actually have the chance of being heard by people that can help change your life, all at no cost. Now back to the program. Anyway, as many have fussed about, the main focus for all the media controversy is what is known as subliminal messaging. Ever since the 1950s, when a theater owner claimed to have brainwashed the audience of a film by flashing images saying drink Coke and buy popcorn, people have been afraid of what else could be done when they are just trying to catch their favorite show. Which, to be honest, it is a bit freaky when you think about it. But what could be done? What could be done if all the hype was true? Not a lot of people know this, but the theater owner was quick to withdraw his findings, claiming that it was all a hoax. But, nevertheless, when something has caused a lot of fear, people tend to have a hard time letting go of the situation. So, is there any real reason to fear what we see on the screens? Or what we listen to when we turn on our favorite songs? Well, in some cases, yes, there can be problems. And in fact, complications because of it have already begun. But in reality, it is not what many think, but rather what is under the excuses of modern society. Think of the popular shows that have made headlines time and time again. Those are something we need to be concerned about. But the simple fact that some of these popular shows have been scientifically proven to make people stupid kind of explains a lot, huh? You see, through a process known as media priming, television and other forms of media can actually influence the IQ of a person. It's only been found to have effects for a short amount of time, unless the exposure is prolonged, so to speak. Now, unfortunately, the popular shows lately are total crap, like Toddlers and Tiaras and 16 and Pregnant. The reason why I say this is because of their exploitation of stupidity and abuse. In fact, a university somewhere, I can't remember the name now, but a university did a study on what media priming could do to students. So they took half the students in a classroom and made them read about a student who constantly got into bar fights, was doing drugs, alcohol, and that other crap. And the other half read about, I believe it was expedition findings. And surprise, surprise, those who read about the bar fighter performed horribly on the tests that followed. So what people need to realize is that they want a smarter society. If they want a smarter society, they need to turn off their TV sets or turn it to some more documentaries every now and then. However, shows the ones like the ones I mentioned before tend to cause more legal trouble as it exploits child abuse and neglect that can come from young children trying to have children and parents that try to soothe their egos while filling up a pedophile's fantasy. Now, besides that crap that some people try to pass off as okay, how is it that our all works? How is it that our favorite shows and video games tend to make us click inside of our heads? You can find out more after these messages. Stay tuned. Alright, before I continue on with the program, I like to use this commercial break to talk about something. Those of you in the United States may have heard of the recent mess happening here in Twin Falls. and the surrounding areas, I should say. For those of you who are unaware, here's a quick filler for you. Last few weeks, a group of thugs have been traveling around the state stealing dogs. Straight out of a person's backyard, pulling them straight out of the kennels, you name it. It is believed that a dogfighting ring has come to the area, and they are looking for new recruits. If these sons of bitches are unable to lure the dogs away from their owners, the dogs usually end up getting shot on the spot. A few of the dogs have been recovered, but how they were found is absolutely terrifying. These dogs have been found beaten, shot, tied up with duct tape, and their teeth filed off. Now, because of this, I felt like I needed to say something. I must please advise everyone to take their dogs inside at night. Set up any security equipment to monitor their dogs if possible if you're going away. Or have a friend stop by to check on them every now and then. So that if something does happen, somebody's there to find out who the hell it is. And take all of your reports straight to the police, not through the dispatchers. The reason why I say this is because dispatchers have a tendency to not forward lost or stolen animals to police departments. In fact, all they do is write them down in a little notebook. The reason why I like to talk about these incidents on this show because I personally have seen this vehicle going around, so I know this isn't some hype that somebody is trying to stir up while they're trying to kill off dogs. I've seen the vehicle that's been going around taking them, but I wasn't able to get a good look at any license plates to find out to forward to the police. So please take my advice that I've just said and enjoy the rest of the program. And welcome back to Journals of Supernatural Adventure, the only show that reveals top secret knowledge found by the Paranormal Raider Force. Hey, I actually kind of like that intro. Might have to start using that a little more. Tonight, on this beautiful Easter weekend, depending on which part of the world you're at, I am talking about how the media can influence our minds. Before the break, I mentioned that certain shows... almost cussing on live air. Sheesh. Anyway, certain shows can actually make people lose IQ points by simply watching them. Which tends to happen with more certain shows like Jersey Shore. No hate against the actors or the producers. Just a quick message to certain individuals that I know listens to my show. But what is it that makes these things click something inside of our heads while we watch? Let's go to video games for a quick sec, since they have been under fire due to school shootings. Studies have been done by several accredited universities to try to find out what happened, to try to answer a few questions by the public. And unfortunate for the public, video games tend to have more of a positive results, in a sense. You see, instead of making people more violent, the first-person shooter games that have been targeted several times when these debates came around, the violence in these games actually calmed the areas of the mind that controlled emotion and rage. Plus, these types of games improved focus. They improved the ability to solve complex puzzles. Heck, They even improve eyesight. However, there is a little unsettling fact behind video games. Because of the realism that all these major gaming companies try to put into their products, some very real effects can be noticed. Now, one must realize that in order for the media to have any push or pull reaction on one's actions, the thought to do it must be in their heads first. So that being, if somebody was mad enough at another person or a certain situation to the point that they only see the way to end it is with the gun, chances are they're going to start pulling the trigger. But the thing is though, video games should not be condemned because of the mental health of a criminal. In fact, neither should weapons themselves be, for that matter. Because mental health is something that needs to be looked into much further than we have already. However, mental health is known about just well enough to know how to manipulate it. Now, I personally believe that the reason why television tends to influence people is because we all try to pursue a state of greatness when we're allowed. So, when we watch a show or play certain games, on a subconscious level, we picture the main characters as symbols of greatness, which is the same reason everybody likes to be on TV, because they feel that they will get the same image from their fans. Trust me, seeing a few of my favorite celebrities pop up as my followers on one of the pages I have online became quite a confidence booster. Heck, just recently it helped out with the strep throat I was dealing with. But back to the program. I bet some of you are wondering how this all ties to the paranormal. I know this because some members of my family have already asked when I told them what this episode was going to be about. So, if you have these questions inside your head, here's an answer. The Illuminati conspiracy. To this day, several people believe that a secret society has influence over many government bodies across the planet, and they have used popular media to help spread their message. These examples, or at least the ones I've seen the most, are the Disney sex scandals, Rain Man being heard in pop music, occult symbolism in Super Bowl performances, and so on. Now, personally, I don't believe that the truth lives up to its hype. But honestly, with how much is shown these days, one cannot help but wonder. However, if there's any truth to it, the methods that are being brought out are simply not what is truly going on. You want to know what it all really is? Find out after the break. And welcome back to Journals of Supernatural Adventure, the show that finally brings logic to a field that desperately needs it. Before the break, I gave a slight summary as to why people tend to act like characters from the favorite media, but honestly, nobody really thinks about how these things tend to work. Well, despite popular opinion, it's not brainwashing. It's not top secret methods of hypnotism. It's not a method of recruiting troops. It's the same way anybody, anything, any project, any book, any movie gets famous. It is the same way that celebrities can become household names. It is the same way that when we are out and about and get a little hungry, we tend to head to the nearest McDonald's or Subway. It is all about exposure. Now just sit back and think for a second. Why is it that we love certain artists in the music industry? Why is it that when we think of listening to music, we think of a certain artist? Probably quite a few things. However, one guaranteed thing is that we practically see or hear about them all the time to the point we are able to recognize them like they were family. Well, it turns out some forms of programming can actually be used to adjust political preferences to neutral grounds, as a few studies have been done to find out how to ease the tensions between the Israelis and the Palestinians through this kind of thing. It's all about exposure to neutral grounds. And if somebody sees it enough, they'll tend to flow that direction. I wonder if it's possible that we can use this to ease what the crap that's going on here in the States. Anyway, I know this is kind of running to be a short show, but we're running out of time. I will have a few more words after this break. Alright, my friends, I hope you all have an awesome Easter. Don't put too many surprises in the eggs. It may get a little intense. Join me again on April 13th for another episode of Journals of Supernatural Adventure. As for what the show is about, I'm not really sure. I've sent out a couple of requests for guests to appear on the show. So, if they accept, we'll try to squeeze them in by then. Or if you would like to be a guest on the show, feel free to shoot me an email at journalsupernatural.adventure, one word, at gmail.com with your name, field of expertise, and a couple of experiences that you've had on the job. If it sounds interesting, I'll send you a confirmation email to schedule an interview. Now, if I am unable to book a guest by then, the show will be in its usual format, and the show will be about the Akashic Records. And the show after that, I believe it's going to be on... Hold on, let me check the calendar real quick. Okay. On the show on April 27th, we will be taking your calls about your own personal ghost stories. Because on the 27th, we will be airing the PRF Anniversary Special. Now, if you don't feel like talking too much, but you would like to send in your stories, feel free to shoot me an email at the address I mentioned earlier. And I would be more than happy to read them to the audience. Well, to be honest, that's all I really have to say. Have a good Easter, my friends. If you don't celebrate it, then have a good week. And I hope to see you again on the next episode. See you around.